Transport of oxygen. The oxygen that enters inside our alveoli or the lungs, it is transported by two ways. The oxygen, which is a gaseous form, it cannot transport it throughout our body in this form, in the gaseous form. So what will happen here? The oxygen, it is combined with hemoglobin. What is this hemoglobin? The hemoglobin, it is a respiratory pigment which is present in the red blood cells. You can see that. This is the RBC. The RBC, red blood cells, which is there in the blood, it contains hemoglobin. The short form is HB. Always the oxygen, it combines with hemoglobin, and the short form is HP. The hemoglobin combines with oxygen and it forms HbO2, that is oxyhemoglobin. Oxyhemoglobin. In this form, oxyhemoglobin form, it is transported throughout our body. In the form of oxyhemoglobin, it is transported throughout our body. So here almost 97% of oxygen, it is transported in our body in the form of oxyhemoglobin. In the form of oxyhemoglobin. Whereas the rest 3%, it is dissolved in blood plasma. Dissolved in blood plasma. What is plasma? The blood plasma. Plasma is the fluid part of blood. The fluid part of the blood is called blood plasma. In blood plasma, 3% oxygen is transported in the dissolved form. Whereas 97% of oxygen, it is transported, that binds with hemoglobin, and it is transported in the form of oxyhemoglobin, HbO2. Next is, you can see it here, how it is transported. Oxygen plus hemoglobin, it becomes oxyhemoglobin. So in this form, it is transported throughout our body in the form of oxyhemoglobin. In the form of oxyhemoglobin, it is transported within the RBC. In the tissues, what will happen? You can see that the oxyhemoglobin, it reaches the tissues. In the tissues, the hemoglobin and oxygen is separated. The hemoglobin and oxygen is separated. That oxygen, it is taken by the tissues where it combines with glucose molecule. The oxygen is combined here to form carbon dioxide, water and energy. So this carbon dioxide that is formed here, this is the one that is expired out. So the take-up of oxygen occurs in the tissues where the oxygen is carried out throughout our body in the form of oxyhemoglobin. And tissues take up the oxygen and the hemoglobin, it is returned back. That hemoglobin, which is returned here, it is combined with the carbon dioxide and it forms HbCO2. That is called as carbaminohemoglobin. Carbaminohemoglobin. So here, in the transportation of carbon dioxide, the transportation of carbon dioxide occurs by three ways. Oxygen transported by two ways. One is in the form of oxyhemoglobin, the dissolved form in the plasma. Nearly, the carbon dioxide transport also, it occurs like that. For example, you can see it here, 7 to 10%, 7 to 10% of CO2, it is transported with the help of plasma, the fluid part of the blood. In the dissolved form, in the fluid part of the blood, nearly 7 to 10% of carbon dioxide is transported. in the form of combines with hemoglobin HbCO2, it forms HbCO2. We call them as carbaminohemoglobin. Carbaminohemoglobin. In the form of carbaminohemoglobin, nearly 20 to 25 percentage of carbon dioxide is transported, whereas maximum transportation, nearly 70 percentage of transportation of CO2, it occurs in the form of bicarbonates. In the form of bicarbonate. In the form of bicarbonates, nearly 70 percentage are transported. You can see the 70 percentage of CO2, it is transported in the form of bicarbonate ions. The CO2 diffuses into the RBC. It combines with water. It combines with water. The CO2 plus water, it becomes carbonic acid. This is the carbonic acid. You can see it, H2CO3, carbonic acid. This is catalyzed by an enzyme called carbonic anhydrase. And the carbonic acid, which is formed here, H2CO3, it is an unstable compound. So it forms H plus ions, hydrogen and bicarbonates. So in the form of bicarbonate, HCO3, 70 percentage of carbon dioxide, it is transported in the form of HCO3 compound. You can see it here, HCO3. In the HCO3, in the form of bicarbonates, bicarbonate ions, 70 percentage of carbon dioxide are transported. So this is how the transportations of oxygen, transportation of carbon dioxide occurs in our body. This is about the transportation of gases.